Alright, I know you should be able to hear me now. One of my interfaces, for some reason, or OBS, is not picking it up. You can hear me now? Yeah, it's one of my interfaces. I'm using two interfaces, and one of them is, for some reason, OBS, which is the program that I use for streaming, is not picking it up, but it was picking it up elsewhere, so I might need to do an update. Anyway, as long as you can hear the bass and you can hear me talking, and we'll see if people can hear music later on. Anyway, do some playing. everyone doing? Welcome to Bass with Benjamin livestream number 17. You know, just still kind of warming up a little, even though I've kind of been playing, getting myself situated for the last hour or so. And oh, glad you love my haircut. My wife gave me this haircut real quick as well. She always does such a wonderful job with my haircuts. I love them. And the chords that I'm playing, this is just all improvised. This is just like solely just in the moment, which is what I always do. I always like to challenge myself with just coming up with something, and whatever happens. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's just the beauty of it. And what key? I would say, let's say, it kind of modulates a bit, but it's definitely around like D flat major. I would say it's definitely around there, D flat major, and maybe G flat major as well. But the chords I'm playing, so here's the top. So that's C minor 11. I've got a, actually I'm gonna slow it down actually. So let's get rid of all the, so I got C minor 11. I've got like a F sus2 with a in the bass. You could also look at it as like a A minor with a A minor 7 with a flat 6, and then I go to B flat minor 11, and then it goes to G minor 11, and then to G flat major 7. I'd say it's more in the Lydian-based aspect, right? So now I've forgotten the chord progression. So what do we got? We got right. F minor 11, D flat major 7, B flat minor 11, F minor 11, G flat major 7, and then we got G minor 11, and then a E, and then a E flat major 7 with a G in the bass. Right, really nice kind of. And again, you could look at it as just like a G minor 7 chord with a flat 6 in there as well. You could look at it that way. Yeah, you know, sometimes pushing through the sometimes it doesn't work moments. Yeah, that's just how it is, and it took me a while to kind of get over that. You know what I mean? And how it was, it's kind of like, let's see. You know, when we're like you know, coming up, when we're developing our craft, we're really paying attention to always play the right thing, whatever that is. And I guess, you know, in this case, you know, okay, playing the notes, the right notes that's in the chords that we're playing, right? And trying our best to like not play a wrong note or something like that, or a note that doesn't fit in there, and that happens. And what happens is that, you know, we get hung up about that, and then we let that kind of just ruin the rest of it. Like, you know, I played a wrong note. You know, it's like, and I would let that bother me a lot. But it got to a point where it's like, I think there was one time I was listening. I was just having like an intense just listening session to just a bunch of records, just like a lot of like old school kind of jazz records, R&B records, and I noticed in some of the solos there are some wrong notes that are happening, but it didn't matter. That's the thing. Like I've heard Freddie Hubbard play some things, but like it didn't matter because it's like the intention of the performance, the vibe, the mood, the honesty, the humanity was all still there. That he didn't let the wrong note like just bother him, and that's what I really dug. Even like some recordings where there's vocalists and they might be like a little flat or something or a little sharp, but it doesn't matter because like the energy, the intention, the mood, the moment is still there. And that's something that I really learned, especially when playing with a lot of very experienced musicians. Yeah, they might be like, ooh, but it doesn't matter. They make it a part of the performance to where you didn't know that they played something that, that may have not worked in their mind. That's the thing, but it might have worked in somebody in the listener's mind because they're there for the performance. They're there following the journey. That's the thing. And there's a whole thing of just like not letting that bother you. Easier said than done, but I think it really just takes letting go, right? Like I've played many different chord progressions here. I'll play a totally different chord progression. I'll make something up, and I'll maybe I'll do something a little more difficult. Let's see. Like whatever that is, let's just try. It's like, okay, there's some things going on there, but even though, yes, I know I played like some interesting, like, oh, okay, maybe not, but I was like, no, I just keep going. I just keep going for it. And I'm using my ears as well to really just try and listen out. And I'm also, especially over something that might be a little more complicated, I'm trying not to maybe like play too much. You know what I mean? Trying to just kind of listen and hear what can go on. There's actually, some of you might have seen this on Rick Beato's interview with Pat Metheny, where they were talking about Pat Metheny's tune, what's it called? Song for Bilbao. Great tune. I love playing that tune. Hey, Red, nice to see you. And there's the middle section of the tune. It's got this, these changes that just go in these kind of cycle of fourths kind of movement, but they go by pretty fast. And there's a particular recording they were talking about. It was Michael Brecker's version of this tune from, I think it's Tales from the Hudson. I think that record of his, where it's Pat Metheny's, Dave Holland on bass, Jack DeJohnette on drums, McCoy Tyner is playing piano on this track. And Rick was talking about the very first time he was listening to it, and he was like, oh boy, I'm going to hear how McCoy Tyner plays over this, especially over that bridge section. And McCoy just played the chord. He didn't solo over that part. He just let the chords go by. He just played the chords. Doom, boom, 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 doom, 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 boom, doom, then carried on. And it's just like, oh, wow. Sometimes it's okay to like just let some things go by that are like, you know what? In this moment, I don't have anything to say right there. And it's not because you can't. It's because sometimes you just don't need to. You don't need to always prove that you can like just burn over complicated changes at every moment. But it was a great decision, what Pat was saying, that like what McCoy did. Because obviously McCoy has had to play over some crazy changes over the years, especially with playing with John Coltrane. I mean, we're talking about giant steps and all that over the years, even though later on they got into more modal stuff. But it's just a thing where you don't have to like always just have to prove that you can play over crazy changes, And I've seen and experienced like incredible improvisers have a tough time over some really gnarly chord changes. And that's just how it is. Everyone has their different direction and concept over improvising over changes. The way that they play stuff. So yeah, how I got into that was, trying to make it work. In anything you play, there are going to be things that just doesn't always work, and that's okay. Sometimes you just have to really be in the moment and just follow that, but don't let it like bring you down. Like, oh man, like who cares? Just play music because you love to play music, whether it's hard or it's easy. It's as simple as that. It's simply said, right? Exactly. It's quite a lot to kind of fathom, But anyway, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing well. Just having a bit of fun playing here. How I got into that was Jared was asking, there was a chord progression I was playing, what was that preconceived, or did you just kind of just figure it out there? And yeah, we just figured it out. Just whatever I'm playing in the moment, that's what it is. It's nice to kind of have a little bit of a challenge of just making it up and seeing what kind of melodies, what kind of music you can get out of what you're playing, right? But if you got any questions, please put it down in the chat. And whether it's about, bass playing, just music, anything to do with, like any bass concepts, technique, gear is always a very popular one. And you know, this is the time to really kind of just go on a nice deep dive about what we do as bass players and how the bass functions in the role or just in music in general. And it's always really fun. And I can't believe we're at number 17, you know, which is crazy. 17 weeks of live streams. What chord am I feeling right now? You know what, Red? This is the chord that I'm feeling right now. So, or this shape at least, right? So have a listen to this. You know? Turn up my mic. I can absolutely turn up my mic. Thank you. I was having problems with, usually I have it routed a different way. Because I use two interfaces and for some reason it wasn't working, so I'm gonna have to troubleshoot that later on. But so I'm kind of feeling this chord. This shape, really nice. I have to hammer the bass note. Just to get that, but it's definitely a very kind of pianoistic kind of voicing. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm playing a if we were to look at it as the shape, I'm playing you could definitely look at that as a like a sus2 kind of voicing. It's just a 3-note voicing. So in this case I'm playing I'm playing an A flat, a B flat, and an E flat, right? Because that those two notes right there, they're very close together, so they're just a like a major second apart. If I was to just play it as a as just a triad chord, like an A flat major triad, then I would be playing A flat, C, E flat, right? But in this case, I'm doing, and then I've got a C, right? But then I'm playing down in the bass, I'm playing an F. And that's a really nice voicing right there. And what I was doing is, essentially, it's just another way of playing a minor 11 chord, right? It's just that, because if we were to look at it in the context of F minor, obviously we've got our F, our root note right there, and then we have the 5th. And then this A flat is going to be obviously the 3rd, or the minor 10th. I've got the minor 11, which is the B flat, and then I've got the minor 7th, that E flat. So Russell Ferrante voicing. Nice, interesting. Yeah, bad. Russell Ferrante, absolutely love his playing. I mean, obviously, you know, that's a big sound, a big part of the Yellow Jackets, right? And so that's really nice. Yeah, let's do this. Let's what I'll do is I'll play this voicing on top. And then exactly, so that's really nice. Yeah, 9G bass. Thank you. Yeah, that's another good way to look at it too. In a slash voicing. So yeah, C minor 7, flat 13. With an F in the bass. And you know, it's interesting that you bring that up too, because yeah, you could totally write F minor 11. But if you want a piano player or a guitar player to play it a specific way without having to necessarily notate the notes of the chord, writing it in a slash chord is a great way to really convey that. And I do that a lot with my compositions and arrangements, where I want the piano or the guitar to play a specific way because I've generally written it on the bass and the voicings that I do. I want them to play the same type of voicing. So that's really good. So in this case, obviously, you'd be telling the piano player to play a C minor 7 flat 13 in the right hand and play an F in the left hand. That's essentially how you would do that. And then I usually do that for for sus chords as well, especially something like this. Which is like a you could look at that as just an A flat an A flat 13 sus 4, right? Because I got that 13 up the top. But how I write it for a piano player or a guitar player, I just write play a G flat major 7 shell voicing slash A flat, right? That's how I typically write that. If you look at Herbie Hancock's tune Maiden Voyage, I know that it's built up of sus 4 chords and a few minor 11 chords, and from what I understand, he definitely writes it as like a C slash D. I've seen some charts like that. He'll write it in that regard because I guess that's just how he was playing it as well. So yeah, it definitely is, helping to be intentional about the voicing, because you could generally just write, like I was saying, this chord right here, you could just say, okay, yeah, F minor. You could even just be real basic, like F minor 7. But there are notes in there that I want, to be included, right? So that's why you would say, okay, in this hand, it needs to have these notes, and vice versa, right? That's one way to see it, especially if you're just, if you look at a lot of Keith Jarrett's music, even Pat Metheny, Gary Burton, that whole kind of crew of people, they definitely popularized using triads with like different bass notes in the chords, because that was their intention. Is like, okay, let's just have a triad right here, but like let's play a different bass note, because it's like, instead of having to like spell out like the chord, you know what I mean? It's like you can simplify things, and also it's just a different sound too, right? So that's definitely a great way to just communicate with chordal players. Is just, you can write slash chords. It's totally fine, right? And hey, Lomax, nice to see you. Any tips for using fuzz distortion pedals while playing bass chords? I'll say, I really don't use a whole lot of like fuzz and distortion pedals. It's just something that, even though I do have, I mean, the only pedal that does, overdrive or distortion, it's not hooked up right now, but it's a Boss, no, not a Boss, what is it? Exotic Effects booster, RC booster, the bass one. And it has a great sound, but I just haven't had any use for it for something other than like playing single note lines, bass lines, or even like solos. In terms of playing chords, it's a good question. That's something I haven't really done with overdrive and distortion, even in like post-production, like in Logic or something. But the way that I would approach it is that, especially for chords, obviously when using distortion, there's going to be a lot of clutter. There's just a lot. So you might want to have a clean and a dirty signal, affected signal. You know what I mean? That way you do have some definition of the chords, and then you have a way of dialing in the overdrive and the distortion, you know what I mean, without losing definition of the chords. So that would be something to experiment, and I think I'm going to experiment too. I'll probably do that in like Logic or something, because you can route it many different ways. So so I'm sorry, I don't really have any tips for using that, but you might want to look at maybe the way that someone like Billy Sheehan does it, and obviously he does the whole wet and dry kind of setup with the stuff that he's doing, because he wants to make sure that there's still good definition in the bass tone, and having the affected, the distortion signals separate, you know what I mean? So that might be something to really, just look at. So yeah, let me know how you get on with that. But yeah, I think splitting the signal might be the best way to go for something like that. Yeah. What's Red? Red's on vacation and found heavy weather at oh, awesome. They didn't have any other jazz fusion, but for some reason they had heavy weather and black market. Well, it's better than nothing, right? It really is. And those two, are absolutely like very defining weather report records. Obviously heavy weather, that's when Jaco was very established in the band, with tunes Havana, Birdland, Teen Town, right? I mean, a lot of the like the Jaco hits with Weather Report that we know and love. And I'll tell you something, man. There's something just so special about Havana. That just like just every element from not only Jaco's just superb bass work on that tune. I mean, there's the tune itself, which is just beautiful. I mean, the changes, Yeah, see? I mean, just beautiful chord changes. Yeah, it's just phenomenal. But this is the other thing too, that like, I mean, the more like I just listen to it, this is a tune I could just listen to over and over again, and I have, and I mean, I'm even just getting like goosebumps talking about it, is that, first of all, yes, we talked about Jaco, so we talked about the chord progression, but each and every part that each person is playing on there is a masterclass in itself. All right, you look at Joe Zawinul's parts. I mean, his acoustic piano parts, but his keyboard, his synth parts from that intro, and even just the sounds that he's playing all the way through. I mean, like what? Wayne Shorter's part is a whole other thing, where he is. It's almost like where Wayne he does some lead parts, and then it almost feels like he's like a rhythm section part as well with what he's playing. And it's just, you just feel the intention when he's playing like in the background as well. It's just as powerful as, what Jaco is doing, right? And then there's Alex Acuna's part on drums, especially like, and I've talked to so many drummers about this specific, drum beat that he's playing, especially for that time. I mean, with 1976, 1977, obviously in Alex's playing, you can hear a lot of like Tony Williams, Jack DeJohnette, Eric Gravatt, Jon Christensen, that kind of amalgamation, especially like the ride cymbal thing going on. And I've asked cats, like drummers specifically. I haven't asked Alex himself because I don't actually know Alex, but like, what would you call that drum beat? Because it's like a mixture of like, sure, Latin playing, there's a bit of backbeat playing, there's some swing in there, like, and then there's that whole ECM kind of vibe in there. So like, it's like, what is it? It's just, and Peter Erskine, he calls it, we just called it, the Jaco Florida beat, which is interesting. But I'll tell you, years ago, I mean, we're talking about 5 years ago, someone got me hip to a Ralph Towner record called Solstice, which is on ECM Records. Ralph Towner, Jan Gabarek on saxophone, Jon Christensen on drums, and Eberhard Weber on bass. The opening track is the Havana thing. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, he's playing the he's doing that thing. And this is before Heavy Weather. So, there's some connection going on there, which is interesting. And as you can see, I could like talk about this like on and on, just about like the drums and like whatever. But the other element that is really important for this track, the way that it sounds, is the studio that they recorded in. The natural reverb. And this is of Devonshire Studios, which is no longer around, but it's in North Hollywood. I remember actually driving past where it was. It's now a car dealership. I think it's like a Toyota or Honda dealership or something now, where the studios used to be. But that reverb, there's that reverb on that track is what really just makes it just a whole different dimension. And I've gotten a chance to talk to Brian Risner, who was the engineer on that record. And he said, yeah, that's just the natural sound of Devonshire Records, Devonshire Studios. He said it just came together. Jaco was mainly DI, but there's a little bit of mic on his acoustic 360 bass rig on there, and you can hear a bit of the mic in there as well. You can hear that distinctive sound of a mic'd cabinet. So yeah, exactly. It really has a huge, just overarching, quality. That's a great way, Red. So if you need to go listen to that record after this live stream, please do so, because I mean, it really is just one of the greatest recordings ever. And in Weather Report, they did do quite a lot of their records at Devonshire as well. A lot recorded there. Black Market is another incredible record, and this was as Jaco had joined the band. So it's on that record. It's two bass players. It's Alfonso Johnson and Jaco, and the first bit, with Alfonso, he's playing on the tune Black Market. He's playing on most of the record. Jaco's just on 2 tracks, I believe. And how they did that, they did it at the end of 1975. And then, they took their winter break. But during that time, Alfonso, decided to leave the band, on good terms. He said, "Oh, you know what? It's time for me to leave. I'm ready to kind of go and do some other things." So they were cool about it. And then when they came back to finish the record at the beginning of 1976 is when Jaco had joined the band. And so, yeah, that's how that worked. Some people think, Jaco like overshadowed, he was so good that, that they kicked out Alfonso. No, it wasn't like that. It really wasn't at all. It's Alfonso had been playing with the band for a while, and he wanted to go on and do some other things. And that's what he did. And the timing worked out. That's how it was. So that's, another example of, how things just work out. They just work out very well. Alfonso went and joined George Duke and Billy Cobham's band, as well as he started playing with Carlos Santana, and doing stuff for Quincy Jones as well, and Flora Purim. So it just worked out, And yeah, Night Passage, that might be my favorite record. My favorite Weather Report record. I was just listening to it the other night. Night Passage, and the reason is because you really feel, okay, they've got themselves in a nice groove. And, it's Jaco and Peter Erskine. I mean, it feels good. It's like the groove is tight. There's some great tunes. And of course, my favorite being 3 Views of a Secret, which is just my all-time favorite Jaco tune. Just absolutely beautiful. That I would say that's my favorite. I asked Peter Erskine what's his favorite Weather Report record. He said Heavy Weather, even though he's not on Heavy Weather, but he said, that record, he said that one was for me. Not in terms of like that should have been me. That one, like compositionally, sonically, musically, he said that's my record. That's like my all-time favorite. So really cool. This is cool to talk. With Weather Report, one of my best friends, Steve Weingart, we'll talk on the phone for hours about Weather Report. This is what we do, and we even had a Weather Report tribute band in LA called Weather Forecast, along with Anthony Fung. Chris Lewis, saxophone player, played some of the gigs. Also, Philip Wack played as well. And we just played essentially the set list from 8:30 live 8:30. We just played that, and we just played them how they played it live. Those arrangements, that kind of same thing. We didn't rearrange tunes. We just kept it real, like a tribute band. As if you're going to see like a Led Zeppelin, cover band. You come and see a Weather Report tribute cover band, and it was a lot of fun. It really was. It's absolute blast. And there's actually videos on YouTube that you can check out. So if you want to see those, just type in Weather Forecast, and just type in my name, and a whole bunch of those will come up. So who else we got here? John X, how you doing, brother? Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well, man. We're just talking about Weather Report, and like you know, I guess it's going to go into 70s fusion, which I absolutely love. Jared is asking another question on chords and wrong notes. What are your thoughts on playing outside the changes? Well, my thoughts on that is, well, for the longest time, I didn't know how to do it. But my thing is like, and one of my teachers a long time ago told me that, like, yeah, playing outside is, you know, you're creating like tension, and then when you come back in, that's the release, right? So if I was to play, let's say, let's just make a little loop here. All right, so I got a loop there of just F minor 7 to D flat major 7. Now, if I want to just play inside the changes, right? So there was one note I did there, which was outside the changes. Kind of made it a minor major 7, right? You can feel that it had like a little mystery thing. Now, if I was to really just play out of the changes, you know, it'll be like what? And then I brought it back in, right? So that's how I kind of like approach it, is tension and release. You're in there. So say, and a great example of it is like if you were to just take a pentatonic. Like if we were to just do F minor pentatonic, right? So what I can do is I can ascend in the F minor pentatonic, but then I can descend, coming back down, doing it like a half step higher, right? Right? And then bring myself back in. I can do it the other way too, where I descend playing the F minor pentatonic, but ascend doing it a half step higher, right? So there's different combinations that you can do with that, but that is if you want to get into like playing outside of the changes, that's a good way to really start. Is just do it over a pattern that you know, just over one chord, and then experiment with just taking it up a half step, right? The whole thing, even over that chord. So obviously, I'm playing all notes. Essentially, well, yeah, pretty much I'm playing all the notes that are non-chord tones, right? But you can hear the tension or just the interest that it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And then when you bring it back in, right, then it's like, okay. So that's how you can create a little bit of drama in your playing, in your lines that you do. Let's have a little tea, which is nice and cold now, which is totally fine. I'll still drink cold tea after it's been hot. It's totally fine with me. And yeah, Red saying Alfonso for George Duke. Yeah, they played a lot. Even when Alfonso was in Weather Report, he was still recording with George Duke on some George Duke records. One of my favorite George Duke records with Alfonso and Ndugu Chancellor on drums. I mean, the three of those guys together were like, they were pretty unstoppable. There's an album called The Aura Will Prevail. Check that one out. And you'll also understand where Thundercat got a lot of his inspiration and influence from. There's a lot of George Duke influence in just Thundercat's tunes, his singing as well. With the kind of falsetto register of singing. There's a lot of that. That's who he was listening to a lot. And you can also hear some Alfonso influence in Thundercat's playing, with especially with the use of effects. Alfonso was using a lot of phaser and wah, envelope pedals. That's just what he was getting into, which is really cool. And yeah, it was just a different time of bass being used as just more than just a support instrument. Alfonso was one of the early cats of bringing the bass up front. He was part of that generation, like in the early to mid 70s, doing that. Along with Stanley Clarke, obviously. And then Jaco came a little later in terms of like being someone who was becoming well known. But in the early 70s, Jaco was already very well known down in Florida, playing a lot, and there's always this buzz of, musicians from New York who would go and play down in Florida and Miami and all that, and they would see this bass player, and they'd always tell the cats back home, like, oh yeah, there was this bass player down there, he's playing this fretless bass, but it was just a totally different set, like it was a whole different thing, stuff that they'd never seen before, right? But what's interesting with Jaco, you can hear Alfonso's, even though they were the same age, you can hear Alfonso's influence in Jaco's playing as well. And I later learned that Jaco was definitely influenced by Alfonso, especially in terms of the use of like with effects and all that, and even just certain like some of the lines, like Alfonso was doing a lot of that, and also playing a lot of fretless too. And Jaco like just absolutely loved Alfonso. They were great buddies. They were really good friends. And that was really, I studied with Alfonso for a number of years, and I just absolutely loved his Jaco stories. They were very, very heartfelt, you know, and because some people who don't know will have like a misconception of like, oh, you know, they were like rivals, you know, because, you know, Jaco was the bassist in Weather Report after Alfonso and all of it. No, it wasn't like that at all. They were really good friends, along with Stanley Clarke as well. They were, because these were the three guys, they're all the same age. They were just absolutely kicking butt on the bass, you know, and they were all doing their thing, you know. So really cool. I always just love talking about. These are three of my absolute biggest influences on the bass. It really is. And yeah, Flora Purim is her records get played a lot here in our house. We just absolutely love. There's a album called Carry On. It's from like the late 70s, like 1979, and this is with Byron Miller on bass. Incredible young bassist who played a lot with George Duke. George is playing on a lot of it. He produced quite a lot of it. Also, who else is on bass? I'm totally spacing on his name right now. Really, but incredible bassist. Played a lot with Wayne Shorter. He played with Carlos Santana. Played with Jean Luponti. And I even met him as well. I'm totally spacing on his name. I'll come back to it. But we play that album a lot. Open Your Eyes, You Can Fly is another record that we play a lot in this house. That's a lot of Alfonso on there. A lot of Alfonso. And George. Ron Carter plays on a few tracks. But yeah. Yeah, and that's a great bass line to study, you know. It plays it on fretless as well. Just have a listen. So if there's records that, you know, some of you who are watching here need to check out after you get off of this live stream, all right, Heavy Weather, Black Market, all right, by Weather Report, The Aura Will Prevail by George Duke. I'd also recommend George Duke, Billy Cobham, Live in Europe, Flora Purim, Open Your Eyes, You Can Fly, and Carry On. All right, there's 6 records right there, okay? Like, that just, for me, have been absolutely just mind-blowing and highly inspirational in terms of, like, wow. Like, this is some stuff they were really, like, well ahead of its time. That kind of vibe. Wow, it's already been an hour. Oh, this is crazy. And first of all, like, I really appreciate you guys just jumping on here and just like, it really is always just wonderful to just chat and hang with you all and just like talk about anything to do with bass and music. I just love how we talked a lot about Weather Report and like 70s fusion and playing outside the changes and you know, this is why I love doing this. This is why I love doing this with one-on-one with my students as well. I just love sharing just about music and just chatting and just helping to just keep the ball rolling for all of you, you know. Hey, John at Quilter, how you doing, bro? Just got here. Oh, it's all good, man. We've been having a lot of fun over here, and this again, this bass rig, this Quilter bass rig, has really just opened up so many doors for me in terms of like the scope of like tone and just possibilities of playing and just inspiration. So thank you again Quilter. If you guys wondering what bass amp I'm using, this is the Quilter bass block V803. It's 800 watts and it's in that package, and it's just incredible. And what you're hearing right now, usually I have the microphone from the AccuGroove cab, but for some reason my interface, my audio interface, one of them is kind of giving trouble, so I'm just using I had to use the mic channel for the speaking mic. So right now you're just only hearing the DI out of the back from the Quilter. That's what you're hearing right now. Usually you'd hear a mix of DI and microphone. That's how I prefer to do it, but you know, this is just what we're hearing right now. Yeah, check out those records. Wonderful records. And speaking, you know, usually around now I do like a kind of gig, like archives kind of thing. But I think I want to actually play something just for fun that I kind of want to just groove to something that's from the 70s. Someone that I wish I got to play with. I mean, it could still happen. We're talking about just the absolute, you know, just queen, Chaka Khan, who is another person who is a huge inspiration in this household. It was my wife that really, I was always a big fan of Chaka Khan, but my wife really helped me just go even further with like just the inspiration, because she is highly inspired by Chaka Khan. Love her music, so through her I got more into like Rufus and all that. So thank you to my lovely wife, Tara. I love you for that and for many more. So let me get I'm just gonna play a Chaka Khan tune, all right? Because I've been doing a lot of kind of soloing and all that. Let's just play a little bit of bass. So what do we got here? Where is it? What am I doing? See, this is the other part of like doing this, is that trying to figure out like, okay, what do I have to do with all these 10 different programs that I have open right now, as well as trying not to overload my computer. Though that's just the joys of doing it all yourself. What do we got here? Nice. Let's get my headphones on. And also, just please tell me if you can hear the track, because I'm just so like paranoid about that now. Let's get our tone dialed in. Okay, I think we got the track here. I'm just gonna play. All right, this is what you gonna do for me, you know? And this is an incredible, just nice, beautiful pocket track. It's got some Anthony Jackson stuff in it. Steve Ferroni on drums. I mean, that dude, heavy, incredible pocket. All right, you want if you want to practice to a tune with great pocket, this is a tune right here. All right, so let's just have some fun. All right, sit back, relax, or you can get up and dance, whatever you want. Here we go. Oh man, it is so much fun playing to that. Whatever that was, I don't know what that sound was. That sounded like some sort of trumpet. That's okay. I gotta play another one. All right, because this is the thing. This is the thing about when just playing to great records that it feels so good. That just feels so good. It's just so infectious. You know what I mean? It's just so like you want to do more. And this is what I was doing. Let me just, what's going on here with the cable? It was saying that my phone, even though I have it plugged in, having all kinds of interesting tech stuff. You know, so it's just so infectious when you're just playing something that feels so good. This is what it should also feel like when you're playing with an incredible band that is just all on the same page. It lifts you up. It inspires you to just really play so much better. This is what, for me, playing music is about. I'm going to play another tune that really helped inspire me in terms of like even more pocket playing. All right. This is a George Benson tune. George Benson, one of my absolute favorites. But this is a tune called "Love Times Love." This is a good old Quincy Rod Temperton thing, because and this is the same time that like Michael Jackson, we're talking about early 80s. It's definitely in that vibe. Same kind of musicians. But the bass player on this track, this is Abraham Laboriel. Incredible bass legend. But like just the pocket, the lockup on this is huge. So this is another tune that I love playing to in terms of like practicing, playing along with like pocket that has great feel. So here we go. You can hear that I'm just like, because I'm just, it just, when you play great music that feels good, you just want to keep doing more. And I appreciate you all being here and just having fun with me here. So here we go. It's George Benson's Love Times Love. Woo! Okay. All right. Oh, it's so much fun just playing all that. It really is. If you want to know the program that I'm using Moises, which is an AI program that can actually isolate the different instruments in any track. So in this case, we can isolate the bass and actually cut it out. So, I mean, just have a listen. There's no bass. No bass. Everything else is there. And I can add in the bass.
Remember the days when we never
Take it out.
had a dime, and our
Put it back in. Take out the drums.
million miles away.
It's an incredible tool for playing on, especially for bass players and drummers. Like if you want to just practice playing along with great records that have incredible feel and groove, use this program. All right. It really is just so much fun to play along to like any recordings that have like good bass, and then it puts you in the bass chair, and it almost feels like you're in the recording session itself. So, Moises AI, it's called, and they have a phone app and also on the desktop or the computer app as well. The switches I was using, John. What do the switches on my bass do? Oh, good question. Yeah, what do the switches do? Just kidding. So the top three switches here, the pickup, that for each pickup, they're just on and off switches. So right now they're all off, which is really cool. So I can leave my volume all the way up and just use the switches to kind of turn off the sound. But if I do that switch, that's going to be the bridge pickup. The middle switch, middle pickup, right? That switch, right? So that way I can get different combinations, right? I can have them all on if I want. I can just have these two on. I can have just the front two on, or I can have just these two on. So really cool. Just real simple, and just to like, yeah, let's do on and off switches, real easy. The other two switches, that's an active and passive switch, and then this one is a mid-range frequency selector. So right now, it's selected so that I can. Oh, gotta clean out that part. Yeah, okay, I gotta clean that one. A little dusty. I'm gonna just go in there and just give it a little clean. So yeah, wow. So right now I have it set so that it just affects the upper mid-range if I need to do any of that, but I can also select it. So that's like upper mid-range. So flicking the switch, that puts it to the lower mid-range, so I can boost or cut anything in there. Usually I just use it for like the upper mid-range. And for soloing, I'll use it as like almost like a boost as well to kind of just get a little more, kind of cut through in the high end. So anyway, that's all we have for today. Okay, John. Yeah, there's no blend part because there doesn't need to be a blend part on the bass. All right, because I have the switches, right? So it's really volume, tone, and then a 3-band EQ. So there's no blend part because you don't need it because it's just the switches, right? So as easy as that. It looks more complicated, but it's actually really straightforward. And I like switches. I like lots of switches and knobs. I know some people like very simplistic kind of layouts to a point where they only have maybe just a volume control, and then for some reason they have everything put in the back here and do the whole set it and forget it kind of thing. It's like I'm the total opposite of that. I like to adjust everything. I like to be able to do that. Anyway, everyone, this has been so wonderful. Great to see everyone. Nice to chat with you all and just connect. And if there's anything I can do to help you with your bass playing, your musical journey, please reach out to me. You can just reach out on social media, send me a DM on Instagram or something, or you can send me an email through my website at basswithbenjamin.com. And don't forget, I've got courses that cover a few different things to do with bass playing, specifically chords as well. There's a nice chords course on there for 4, 5, 6 string bass. That's at basswithbenjamin.com, where you can click the link down below. If you want some one-on-one lessons, coaching, that's also available. You can reach out to me through there. Just click on the links that you see down below. But yeah, again, this has been great. I really appreciate you guys. Really do. And I love the questions and just kind of chatting about all of this. And thank you for letting me just have some fun, just playing some grooves as well. Let me indulge myself right there. So I appreciate it. But have a great rest of your week. All right. And the weekend coming up, wherever you are in the world, stay safe. All right. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the live stream here. So thank you again, everyone. All right. I'll see you next time. Peace. Let's try playing this again. No, I can't play it. Whatever. Bye, everyone.